Year's Eve, believe it or not, is just a few days away now. And you know, a lot of people want those sparkly accessories, maybe the crazy sunglasses. But we're working on hats and headwear this morning.
Yeah, WPDE News Channel 15's Amanda Kinza. She's live this morning at Alexi Enterprises Incorporated. It's in Murrells Inlet. She's got all the details. Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning. That's right. Well, you got to stay warm and look good, and that's what you're going to show us how to do, right? So people just need to get some yarn, and then how do we go about this?
Well, the great thing about knitting is that there's just so much variability and flexibility in the different kind of yarns you can use and the textures and the kinds of patterns you can make with them. And essentially knitting is just 2 stitches, knitting and purling, but you can just do an incredible combination of patterns and so forth with them.
Absolutely, and you've got a lot of examples here. I mean, you can do any colors, you know, different styles. So if you already know what color you're wearing, you can match it.
Exactly. Now I picked just a basic white because I wanted to show up some letters that we're going to put on it to spell out Happy New Year. And when I make my bands for my hats, I usually double knit them so that it gives them some texture. Like, for example, this one. This is the type of stitch we're going to be doing, and this is a seed stitch. There's other kinds of stitches like this that are a rib stitch, and I kind of went to this through the years of making these hats because they are just a more interesting knit. Now I'm combining this kind of shiny white material or knit yarn here. It's got some little flecks in it, but there's other possibilities, like this is ribbon. You can knit this right in ribbon yarn, and you can knit it right into the band along with the other colors, or just make it out of that.
You can use this too.
This is kind of my parrot loves this. He thinks it's another bird. And then there's even this. I found this year, a very interesting kind of funky ribbon that you can knit, and it makes a kind of bulgy thing when you make it.
Neat.
And then here's some with sequins knitted right into it.
Sequins are good for the new year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast on, this is going to seem you know a little bit about knitting. I cast on about 45 stitches. I'm using size 13 needles. And you want your hat to be around 20 inches when you're done. So try to figure out about how much would go into an inch so you know how many stitches depending on your size of needle. As I said, I'm using 13 size needles. Okay, now after you cast on, then we're going to do the seed stitch, and it's a real simple stitch. You just knit one and purl one. So you're going to knit straight into the stitch, then you're going to knit in behind the stitch.
Okay, and if somebody does know how to knit, then they can go ahead and start on this, and it would totally be ready by the new year.
Exactly. And there's all kinds of things out on the internet, on YouTube, and just a number of ways that you can learn to knit very easily.
You gotta love YouTube, right? How to. You can find out how to do anything on YouTube and on Good Morning Carolinas, because we're always showing you cool stuff, like cool hats, guys.
That's right.
Christmas, we're already moving on to New Year's pretty quickly. For some people, part of the fun of New Year's Eve is getting all sparkly, those outrageous accessories, but you don't have to spend a ton of money, and you can make it at home.
Definitely. That's what WPDE News Channel 15's Amanda Kinza is doing this morning, live in Murrells Inlet. She's with Alexi Enterprises Incorporated, the owner of that company. Good morning.
Good morning, yes, and you are showing us how to make your own hat. I have one of your hats on right now, and it keeps you warm, and it looks fun. It's something you can add to your outfit for the new year.
Exactly.
All of 2014, really. Right. So you started, and you're knitting. You said about 20 inches to go around the head.
To go around the head, and this part is the brim, which, well, you can see like here, or any of the hats, they all have brims. It's about 2 inches or so. And I'm going to show you up close. You can see maybe the sparklies in it.
Yeah, it's sparkly, which is nice for the new year.
For the new year.
Kind of like snow, you know.
Right, exactly. Which I don't like to think about.
Which we don't get here, knock on wood. So we can just wear some on our head instead.
Right. Now I'm going to detach the sparkly part now, and the rest of the hat. These bad scissors.
Those are some big scissors.
And now we're just going to use the plain yarn, and what we're going to do to make this little blousey effect is we start increasing the stitches, and I'm going to double knit this. So to increase the stitches, we just do a regular knit stitch into the front of it, and then also go into the back of it.
Okay.
So we're really doubling the amount of stitches. There's about 45, and now we're going to have 90 stitches when we get done with this.
That's a lot of stitches. How long have you been doing this?
Well, it's an interesting story because I started knitting when I was about 7 years old. My great aunt taught me to knit, but that's all she taught me. She didn't tell me how to finish it or how to make anything. She just taught me to knit.
So you had like really long lines of stuff.
Exactly.
Scarves, right?
Huge scarves that were never finished.
Well, that's great. You've come a long way.
Come a long way.
You know, you can make nice little hats, and anybody can do this, right?
A friend in the
Very
neighborhood.
cool. Got to keep warm. A little pop of color for some fashion. I like the big sunglasses that say like 2013 across your face. That's my personal favorite.
Especially if you're going to the New Year's Eve event at Market Common.
Yes.
It's outside. Want to bundle up for that?
Absolutely. New Year's Eve just now a few days away. Hard to believe, but a lot of people accessorize with hats, scarves, sparkles, and so if you want something different this year, we've got you covered.
Yeah, WPDE News Channel 15's Amanda Kenseth is live at Alexi Enterprises Incorporated. That's in Murrells Inlet. She's got all the details. Good morning, Amanda.
That's right. We've got the sparkles and the hat. You've been working hard this morning.
I have. It looks like I really worked hard. I
Well,
cheated
you
a little
already
bit.
had a lot of that done because this actually takes. I mean, this takes a good chunk of your day
It does. It takes about 4 to 5 hours to make a hat.
to make a whole hat.
To make especially a ponytail hat. This is just going to be a regular hat. Now this is called the stocking knit stitch, and it's probably what you see mostly in sweaters and hats and everything. You knit one row and then you purl coming back, then you knit another row and you purl coming back. And I did this, remember we had 90 stitches, and I've been doing this for about 5 or 6 inches, and it's going to start to give it that kind of beret, blousey look.
Okay.
Okay. Then at the end, we're going to start decreasing the stitches. So what I usually do is I start out with 3. I knit 3 and then knit 2 together. Knit 3, knit 2 together. Do that row, and then I knit back, purl it back. Then I decrease the next row. I knit 2 and knit 2 together, and then the next row I knit 1 and knit 2 together. So it progressively makes it slower and gives it that rounded look. Okay. And then when we have it down to only a few stitches, maybe about that many stitches, which it'll end up as you keep decreasing, then I'm going to cut the yarn and feed it back with a needle and then pull it together, and that will make the rounded look of the hat.
And then you have a hat. And I do want to mention, you know, if you don't have time to knit a whole hat, if you've got one at home, well, you can take some sequins or some flowers or stuff like that, and you can sew them on just to add that little extra pizzazz and make yourself look good for New Year's, guys.
That's right.
Very cool, very easy. Just take the little beads that have the letters and spell out Happy New Year or whatever you want.
Yeah, all your sparkles.
Definitely.
New Year's 2014 is only a few days away.
Jeez.
So for some people, New Year's Eve is all about celebration. Part of it is getting sparkly and all dolled up. So we've got some tips for you on how to do it on a budget.
Yes, and keep warm because Maddie says it's going to be a little chilly that night. WPDE News Channel 15's Amanda Kenseth is live in Murrells Inlet at Alexi Enterprises Incorporated. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, we've been knitting a hat. Well, you've been knitting a hat all morning. And just a fancy way to spruce up your New Year's Eve outfit. In an affordable way, too, if you can do this at home. So what are you doing now? You've got it pretty much closed up.
Yes, this is a little place where we pulled it all together at the top that makes the end of the hat. And then I didn't want to leave you hanging. You have to take it and turn it inside out and sew, leave a tail. You had to leave a tail when you cut it off. And sew all the way up and finish it off so you get the nice hat look. Okay, we're going to pretend like we finished that. Now the fun part is decorating it. And there's just 1,001 different options. One thing, if you really know how to knit, you could have knit in 2014, and I've done things like that, but it's very complicated. But what we're going to do today is make it simple, and there's all kinds of things you can sew on hats. Sequins, of course, are good for New Year's, but they have tiny holes, so they're kind of hard to work on unless you use a regular thread. But some of these other things, like little letters here, or little bling, like this,
Yeah,
or
you gotta
like
have the
buttons.
bling, right? It makes
you
it
gotta have
fun.
bling, yeah. Or I even get these packets at Walmart that have all kinds of little different things in them that just make it random and really pretty.
And if you really
shiny.
want to go, you can put this on your hat and then make some jewelry to match.
Oh yeah, that would be perfect. Or you could also make a scarf and put some of it on the scarf.
There you go.
Okay, well we're going to fast forward, and we have a finished product here, and I chose to put Happy New Year in little beads.
Oh, cute! I love it.
And I have a flower here. If you want to go online, you could just say how to knit a flower, and they tell you in 3 easy steps how to do that.
Nice. And if you can't knit the whole hat, then you can just put this on a hat that you already have too.
Exactly.
All right. Is this how it goes?
Uh-huh. And if you're going to New York, you can put in earmuffs too.
Yeah, I love it. What, do I look like I'm ready for the new year, guys?
Very festive.
Yes,
the
you do.
sparkles, the color, we love it.
Yeah, it looks good. And she just said New York. I'm going to New York in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Put the earmuffs on the hat. I'll stay warm.
There you go. That time of year, folks.